We have been celebrating a little bit every day in the garden, but today we are celebrating even a little bit more because we have cooked meals and salads and all sorts of gems from the garden.
This is an abundant harvest that we were able to put together from whole foods in our yard. And a lot of people, when they first get into whole foods cooking, get a little intimidated and think you need all of this special equipment and all of this expertise and technique, but really basic cookware, a sharp knife, and a cutting board, and that's about it. You can pretty much make everything here with very little instruction or guidance, and it's delicious.
Yes, and we did everything here as we would normally do things simply, but we especially wanted to stick to that to show how accessible it is to eat healthy, homegrown food right from your yard. And you've noticed in probably just about every video, I've been nibbling in the garden. So I've been eating the whole time. We talked about eating the microgreens, when you're thinning. So we've been eating all along, but today we're excited to share these meals with you. And we have created a few things here that are like really easy, common things that you're going to be able to do with the foods that you grow from the Free Seed Project pack. And almost all the food here is from the garden, from the Free Seed Project, but we added in a few other things to share a couple other exciting little lessons.
So the salad is the first stop. I think that's the easiest. Literally no cooking. It's basically just assembly. So we did a nice arugula salad from the seed pack, and then we used a mix of veggies, the carrot ends from baby carrots that were too smaller that we cut off from the bottoms of the larger carrots, some tomatoes, but we also foraged, which is a huge thing when you're gardening. The more you get into it, the more you realize how many edibles are around. So this is Spanish needle, which is a weed, but it's a medicinal, edible, wonderfully abundant flour you can add for a little pop of color. And then you can use whatever dressings you want, some simple olive oil and balsamic or whatever you have in the fridge. But I think in most cases, a salad is probably the easiest place to start.
Yeah, so with the salad, the most common greens you're going to use from the pack are the arugula, kale when it's younger, mustard greens, and then we also have, the onion, the chive, all of the herbs can go in there. And then as far as the weeds, we also have purslane and we have the spiderwort in here. And some of the other weeds that you're likely to get in your garden that would be wonderful to eat in your salads would be plantago or plantain. Dandelion is another one. Stinging nettle is another really common one. So I have videos on how to harvest the weeds, and I would highly recommend watching those. Those will be in the description and in the guide, so that you can learn the edible weeds in your garden to add to your salads and your cooked dishes.
If you want to start doing cooked meals, the next thing I always start with, and I think is a nice basic way to take whatever you do have in the garden or have access to, is what I like to call Buddha bowls. So I start the base of the bowl with some sort of grain, rice or millet or sorghum or whatever else you'd like to put under there. And then I put some sort of mixed vegetables. Sometimes I'll add in sauteed greens, but I always try to have some sort of root vegetables. Carrots are from the package, turnips, radishes. A lot of people eat radishes raw, which obviously you can. They're delicious roasted too. You can mix in beets, anything else that you have. I roast those in the oven just with some simple salt and pepper and olive oil. And then I garnish with some sort of sauce. You guys do have basil in the pack. We didn't have time to make pesto, but that's a great sauce, or any other mixed sauce, and some herbs. Herbs on top of everything. It's a great way to get all sorts of micronutrients and add a huge burst of flavor.
Yeah, and then moving on, we have the sauteed greens. And sauteed greens are one of the most common foods that I eat. It's a way to just pack in lots of nutrients. And there's a dish in Greece that's called horta. And that's basically just sauteing all of the greens together, whether wild greens or from the garden, and doing that in olive oil with salt and lemon. Very simple. And what's great about this dish, is that you can use your older greens for this as well. That might be a little stronger flavored, might be more bitter, or might be more strong. And that sautéing helps to reduce that strongness and make it more palatable. So from the garden, from the free seed pack, you're going to be having a lot of your kale, your mustard, your arugula, your radish greens, and your turnip greens. All make wonderful, wonderful greens for your sautéed greens. And then of course, eating the weeds. We have purslane in here, and dandelion, and your plantago, and a lot of your stronger flavored weeds will be wonderful in the horta, in the sautéed greens. And of course, adding in your dill, your basils as garnishes, and cooking with your chives and your onions. All of your herbs can go into this to bring out the flavor.
So we have kimchi, and this is yet another way to store and preserve the bounty over time. So end of season, if you do have too much abundance, or if you just want to try something different, fermented foods can be a little intimidating. Even for myself, I've been gardening and saving for years, and I'm just starting to get into fermenting. And I remember just like always feeling like, what if I don't do it right? Or, like there's so much that could go wrong. And then once I did it, I was like, oh, this is so simple. I don't know why I wasn't doing this the whole time. Literally all you need is salt, technically, for like the krauts and all of that kind of thing. Literally just salt and massaging. If you want to take it a step further and do something like kimchi, you're literally just adding in herbs in addition to the salts. And it creates its own juices and ferments and is stable for a long time.
For making your sauerkraut or your kimchi, you have some really great herbs in the pack. That's your dill seeds, your cilantro seeds. Those are in the beneficial insect attractant mix. And then you have mustard seeds as well. Those are 3 really wonderful seeds for adding to your kimchis or your sauerkrauts. And those herbs, your basil, your dill, your oregano, those can all be dried and saved long term, and those can be added to your krauts as well. And then lastly, we wanted to share these mulberries. And these mulberries, gotta eat a few. These mulberries, I was biking over and I foraged these, and we just have to mention foraging because so much of the abundance that there is, we don't have to do any work for. And often it's about getting connected with our neighbors, getting to know our neighbors. This is a mulberry tree that produces gallons and gallons, and I met the woman. She can't come close to eating them all, and she's so happy for us to stop by the tree and harvest. So adding the foods that you forage from your neighborhood, and we'll have a link in the description that has my beginner's foraging guide, which has lots of videos on foraging the weeds and foraging fruits and everything that you would want to forage.
So I try as best as I'm able on site to not have any waste, or very, very little waste, especially when it comes to food products. So, the carrot ends, the tops of the tomatoes, like even the carrot tops, or any of those veggie scraps, onions, the onion peels, all of that can be used to make super flavorful stock. So whether you're vegetarian or vegan, making a veggie-based one, if you eat meat, saving the bones from chicken, and making your own stock is a really amazing way to add nutrition, get more value out of your garden and what you've grown, and it just adds so much flavor. So I always save the ends of all of my veggies. I put them in the freezer until I have enough to make a batch of stock, and then I make large batches of stock, and that's just a great way to reduce your waste. I have a video on my channel that goes through 5 different ways to use your veggies before it gets to the compost pile. So we'll have a link for that in the show notes.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to talk a little bit about your herbal teas now. In the pack, you have the Tulsi Holy Basil, you have chamomile, and you have lemon balm. Those are 3 of my favorite herbal teas. And again, if you're just getting into herbs and herbal teas and maybe even herbalism, some people might find it intimidating, but You can make tea from these either with just fresh leaves and the stems and the flowers, or you can dry them and save it for later and make tea. It's really that simple. With all of these, you don't bring the water all the way up to boiling. It's okay if you do, but just below boiling is going to be more ideal with these to get the most nutrients and the most medicine out of it. So I want to show you a very simple method here. If you have window screens, you can take those screens out, you can set these up, and this is a way where you can dry a lot of herbs. You can use an electric dehydrator, those are wonderful, but for all these herbs, they can be done just using the natural dryness of the air. So here I have some of the lemon balm, and then I also have some of the Tulsi basil here, and I have some herbs that are from previous batch that are already dry, and you want when they're done, they should basically like crumble. That's when you know that they're done. And here's some herbs that I had dried previously that you can see they're nice and crisp and they're crumbled. So the holy basil is wonderful for just a anti-anxiety, just a calming relaxation, and even if just smelling it does that for you. And the chamomile also helps with sleepiness, or helps you to get to sleep at night. So those are two wonderful medicines. And the lemon balm, that one's, for me, that one's kind of like really perky, helps lift me up.
Enlivening.
And Elise said
flavor is excellent too.
Flavor is wonderful, and Elise said she likes to add that to other teas that maybe like the moringa that don't have as lovely of a flavor to add that nice
balance.
Kick of lemon. Balance.
Yeah. I keep fruit really simple, so I love to mix in herbs, fresh herbs with fresh fruit. So I put a little cilantro in with the mulberries that he foraged. Sometimes I'll put in mint with watermelon. It just adds like so much flavor and nutrients and everything else that it's just a wonderful way, yet simple, to just like make it this like elevated fancy dish when it's anything but. And another thing to not forget is the leaves of mulberry are edible as well. There's actual varieties that are grown specifically for the leaves, but a lot of plant species, fruit trees, or otherwise, there's uses for the leaves in addition to the fruit itself.
That was the first time I've ever had mulberries with cilantro, and it's delicious. Definitely something that I'll continue to do. So we're really excited to have shared how you can eat so much of the food that comes in the pack, but don't eat everything, because we want you to save seeds so you can turn your one pack into hundreds of packs for people for the years to come. So in the next video, you're going to learn how to save seeds.